People think dreams are just fleeting images, random flickers of the subconscious. But for me, there's something more. They're a universe unto themselves. I've spent countless nights delving into these nocturnal landscapes, cataloging every hue, every scent, every emotion. It's like being an explorer, charting uncharted territory. I've filled volumes with these observations. Patterns emerge, symbols recur. It's more than just coincidence. There's a method to the madness, a logic hidden in the chaos. I believe dreams are a window, perhaps even a door. A door to somewhere, something we can't yet comprehend. And I'm determined to find the key.
Archie was an ordinary man with an extraordinary interest. He was fascinated by dreams. Not the kind of fascination that led to dream interpretation or psychoanalysis, but a more scientific curiosity. He wanted to know what happened to our minds when we slept. For years, Archie had been keeping a detailed dream journal. He'd note every detail, no matter how strange or insignificant it seemed. He'd record the colors, the smells, the emotions, and even the exact time he woke up. As his journal grew thicker, so did his conviction that there was more to dreams than just random brain activity. One night, a dream was different. It was vivid, almost painfully real. He was in a city, but not a city he recognized. The buildings were taller, the lights brighter, and the sky a strange shade of green. People walked around with devices that looked like thin sheets of glass. As he explored this strange place, something felt familiar. The language, the architecture, even the way people interacted, it was like a mirror image of his world, but amplified and improved. When he woke up, the dream was still clear in his mind. It was more than a memory, it felt like a lived experience. He started to notice patterns in his dreams. Certain symbols kept reappearing, a particular tree, a number sequence, and a strange, glowing orb. These symbols were like breadcrumbs leading him somewhere. Driven by curiosity, Archie began intensive research. He studied physics, psychology, and even philosophy. He learned about parallel universes, quantum mechanics, and the nature of consciousness. As his knowledge grew, so did his theory. He believed that dreams were not just random brain activity, but portals to parallel universes. To test his theory, Archie started practicing lucid dreaming. This meant learning to become aware that he was dreaming while still asleep. It was difficult, but with practice, he managed it. Once lucid, he focused on the symbols from his dreams, hoping they would be his keys to other worlds. His first successful lucid dream was terrifying and exhilarating. The glowing orb from his dreams materialized in front of him. It pulsed with light, and then, with a dizzying sensation, he was pulled into it. He opened his eyes to find himself in the same city from his previous dream, only this time, he was a part of it. Days turned into weeks as Archie spent more and more time in this parallel universe. He learned their history, their technology, and their philosophy. It was a world without war, poverty, or disease. People lived in harmony with nature and had developed a deep understanding of the universe. But this perfect world had a dark side. The same technology that had brought them such advancements was also responsible for a growing ecological crisis. They were on the brink of destroying their planet. Archie realized that his world, with all its problems, was still in a better state. He felt a responsibility to help them. Using the knowledge he gained, he started to devise a plan. He would use his lucid dreaming to communicate with scientists in his world, sharing the advanced knowledge from the parallel universe. It was a risky plan. He could be trapped in the dream world, or worse, erased from existence. But the potential benefits were too great. He had to try. As he worked on his plan, he also realized something profound. His dreams were not just portals to other worlds, they were a bridge connecting different dimensions of consciousness. He was becoming more than just a man, he was becoming a bridge between worlds. The task before Archie was monumental. To transfer complex scientific knowledge from a parallel universe to his own through the ethereal medium of dreams seemed almost impossible. Yet, he was motivated by a sense of urgency. The parallel world was on the brink, and their fate was intertwined with his own. His following attempts were met with frustration. Lucid dreaming was unpredictable. Sometimes he'd find himself adrift in a dream, unable to focus. Other times, the moment he tried to convey complex equations or scientific theories, the dream would dissolve. But Archie was persistent. He adapted, learning to break down information into smaller, more digestible chunks. He used visual metaphors, relying on the dream's innate ability to create imagery. Slowly but surely, progress was made. He managed to transmit basic concepts of energy generation to a brilliant young physicist in his world. The physicist was initially skeptical, but the intricate details and flawless logic of the dream-transmitted information were undeniable. A new form of clean, limitless energy was on the horizon. Words of Archie's abilities spread, and soon, he was inundated with requests. Governments, scientists, and even philosophers sought his guidance. He became a bridge, a conduit between two worlds. But the toll was heavy. The more time he spent in the dream world, the more distant his waking life became. His relationships suffered, and his health began to deteriorate. The parallel world, too, was undergoing changes. Inspired by Archie's messages, their scientists made breakthroughs. Yet, the ecological crisis deepened. Desperate measures were taken, and the delicate balance of their world was threatened. One night, a terrifying dream shook Archie to his core. In this dream, the parallel world was on the verge of collapse. The once lush, green planet was barren, and its inhabitants were suffering. A despairing sense of responsibility washed over him. He realized that his role was not just to share knowledge, but to prevent catastrophe. With renewed determination, Archie focused his efforts on finding a solution to the ecological crisis. It was a complex problem, requiring an understanding of biology, physics, and chemistry far beyond his own world's knowledge. He immersed himself in the dream world, studying, experimenting, and collaborating with the brilliant minds there. As time goes by, Archie's body aged rapidly, but his mind seemed to exist outside of time. Finally, a breakthrough came. A combination of biological engineering and energy manipulation could restore the planet. It was a daring plan, but it was their only hope. The challenge now was to convey this complex solution back to his world. It would require multiple dreamers working in tandem. Archie began training a team of individuals with lucid dreaming abilities. Together, they would form a network, a bridge of consciousness between the two worlds. As the team grew stronger, so did their hope. The fate of two worlds rested on their shoulders. The journey would be fraught with danger, filled with challenges they couldn't foresee. But they were ready. For in their hearts, they carried the weight of two worlds and the promise of a future where both could thrive. The task of creating a dream-based communication network was immense. Archie and his team spent countless hours training, refining their lucid dreaming abilities, and establishing protocols. It was a delicate dance between consciousness and the subconscious. Their first attempt was a disaster. The information was fragmented, lost in the vast expanse of the dream world. Disheartened but undeterred, they analyzed their failures, made adjustments, and tried again. Gradually, they began to see progress. Small packets of information were transferred successfully. It was a slow, painstaking process, but it was working. Meanwhile, the situation in the parallel world grew increasingly dire. The ecological crisis was accelerating. Desperation gripped the population, and there were whispers of rebellion against the governing council. Archie felt the weight of their world's fate on his shoulders. As the dream network expanded, so did the challenges. Not everyone was suited to lucid dreaming. Some experienced terrifying nightmares, while others lost themselves in the dream world, unable to return. Maintaining the network required constant vigilance and support. Despite the difficulties, they persevered. The solution to the ecological crisis was being transmitted bit by bit. In Archie's world, a dedicated team of scientists was working tirelessly to decode and understand the information. It was a race against time. One night, as Archie was deeply immersed in a dream, he sensed a disturbance. The parallel world was in chaos. The rebellion had begun. The once harmonious society was fracturing. In a desperate attempt to stabilize the situation, Archie tried to intervene, but it was too late. The dream shattered, leaving him disoriented and filled with dread. When he awoke, he knew that the fate of both worlds was now inextricably linked. The rebellion in the parallel world would have far-reaching consequences. It could destabilize the delicate balance of the dream network, and it could also trigger unforeseen events in his own world. Archie and his team realized they had to act fast. They needed to accelerate the information transfer to complete the solution before the parallel world descended into total chaos. It was a high-stakes gamble, but it was their only hope. The final push was grueling. Days turned into nights as they worked tirelessly. Physical exhaustion was replaced by a burning determination. The dream network was pushed to its limits, but it held. The dawn that should have heralded a new era was instead shrouded in an eerie silence. Archie woke, or perhaps he only thought he did. His body felt heavy, unresponsive. Panic surged through him as he realized he couldn't move. His eyes, however, were open, and he could perceive the world around him with chilling clarity. He was paralyzed. Fear gnawed at him as he confronted the terrifying reality. Had the immense mental strain of the mission shattered his physical form? Or was this a cruel twist of fate, a punishment for his audacity to bridge two worlds? Days turned into weeks as Archie lay trapped in this living nightmare. He could hear the hushed conversations of his loved ones, their voices filled with sorrow and confusion. He wanted to scream, to reach out, but his body was a prison. Desperation fueled a spark of hope. Perhaps this wasn't his physical body that was paralyzed, but his mind trapped in a lucid dream. If this were true, then there was a chance, a glimmer of hope. He focused with all his might, trying to slip through the veil of this dreamlike state. As weeks turned into months, Archie's mind adapted to his confinement. He learned to navigate this ethereal realm, exploring its depths and pushing the boundaries of his consciousness. He discovered that he could manipulate objects with his thoughts, and he could even communicate with others in the dream world. It was in these ethereal interactions that Archie began to question the nature of reality. Was this dream world a mere projection of his mind, or was it something more? Were the people he encountered real beings, or figments of his imagination? One night, a figure appeared before him. It was a being of pure light, and its voice echoed in his mind.
You are not trapped, Archie. You have chosen this path.
Confusion washed over Archie. Chosen? He hadn't made a conscious choice. But as he delved deeper into the being's words, a chilling realization dawned upon him. Perhaps he had subconsciously yearned for escape, for a world untouched by the burdens of his reality.
This realm is a sanctuary, a place where consciousness can evolve freely. You have the potential to become something more than human.
Fear and excitement warred within Archie. The prospect of transcending his human limitations was alluring, but it meant leaving behind everything he had ever known. But Archie made his choice. He would embrace this new reality, this dream within a dream. With a final look back at the world he was leaving behind, he stepped fully into the unknown.